I'm a vice president of strategy at the Athlete Institute. I'm also managing partner at Transcend Partners, athlete entertainer family office. Just a little bit about me. I born in Trinidad, grew up in Toronto, primarily in Scarborough. Played every sport, basketball, soccer, and football. And came a time in grade 10 when I needed to pick a sport because I needed to focus in on my academics, but also, love to play sports and saw that sports was would create a great future for myself. So I picked football because I was too short to play basketball, and had the opportunity to go to Columbia University in New York and majored in computer science and worked at JP Morgan in the private bank and markets groups while I was there. And when I graduated, I worked at an early stage venture capital firm. And, years later, found my way back here at the Athlete Institute, really working with kids that were very similar to me when I was a teenager. Athletics, are important, but it provides a pathway for opportunity to the next level. Athlete Institute was founded by Tipping and Adam Hoffman, and I think the premise when they began was really thinking about creating opportunities for kids of all different walks of life, setting opportunities for them in Canada. And so a lot of the kids that at that time when they started Athlete Institute, they were going south of the border to find opportunities with other prep academies. Jesse felt like there was something missing here, and we needed to keep that talent here, to develop it here. And so Jesse created the Athlete Institute to be able to do that. And really that was the premise of the Athlete Institute when it started, and it still is today. And so, we just launched a women's program. It's the first time that we've, had a women's program. And so we're taking really good steps with that, thinking about how we create opportunities for the next generation of female leaders. Some of the athletes that we have right now, not just thinking about them as athletes, but as a total person. So allowing them to find opportunities in and around sport, and really helping them along their pathway. Athlete Institute now kind of stretches beyond the high school age, and we to build relationships with our athletes way beyond their years here at Athlete Institute. But as far as racial and gender equality issues, I think that they're really about opportunity at the end of the day, creating opportunities for everyone that's a part of the ecosystem and everybody that's willing. Sport is sort of the pretty democratic, right? So you want to work hard, you will find opportunities, and that goes for everybody across the board. And so I think we provide a pathway, we provide a template for folks to be able to operate. And I think if people are willing to work hard and care about their futures, like most kids do, they'll be successful here, and they'll find great opportunities. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, because I think that kids at a young age, depending on where they grow up, they're really a product of their environment. And I think sport being what it is to most kids, I think it's one of those kind of pure places where they learn kind of teamwork and communication and discipline and creativity. And I think once they get outside of sport, it becomes something else. I think kids at a young age actually have a bit of an edge, right? So the newer generation understands that that these issues are important, and there's a way to treat people that you know have friends who are who are parents, and some older folks who are older than me, and they have kids, and their kids correct them when they're they say something that that is racially or sort of gender insensitive. And so for us, it's I don't think we need to teach kids it. We just need to put them in the right environment and make sure that that they have the ability to create their own sort of views on gender and race. I think that them working together in an environment would lead to a general understanding of who people are. And so I think that it's not about teaching; it's about creating the right environment for them to not sort of develop some of the views that some of the older people. I think it's challenging for athletes, right now, obviously. One, it's really about opportunity, creating opportunities for those athletes to share their story. But two, I think there are some of these platforms. Anonymity is great, but it means that you have a lot of people who would in a normal setting not necessarily say the things that they say online. And so I think platforms can probably do a better job of policing some of that activity. And I think in general, the sports media landscape, I mean, really it's about content at the end of the day. And I think we have to call out those folks who are who want to be divisive, who want to spur controversy. I think we have to do a better job of calling those people out, especially the ones that are chasing likes and and attention. And so I think that that's the way that we can replace. Um, you know, for me, there are a number of folks that I think that speak directly to the media and talk about how the media itself impacts players, how they may characterize players, how they may characterize athletes. And I think it's important that athletes continue to talk about it on through traditional media and through their own channels. Quite honestly, I think it's a lack of creativity, and you know um, for me, there are it's quite easy for to pick somebody that or to pick somebody that you're familiar with, or somebody that a friend's son, to work in the industry. And so it's natural for people to feel like um, connected to people that are in their community. But I think we all kind of have a responsibility to look outside of our communities and look for the most qualified person, right? Not most qualified in do I like them? Can I get along with them? But to actually do the job. Um, and I think hunger and kind of creativity, curiosity are all things that you should be able to measure as part of, especially for young people moving in the industry. It's something that I don't know that executives pay that much attention to when they're making selections. So I think it's looking outside of their circles and looking for unique people that have a voice and that have an opinion and can actually push the envelope for them. You have to have brave people who are making choices at the end of the day, right? People that are authentic and really you shouldn't, in a lot of cases we try, we end up trying to punish people for being authentic in a lot of ways. And I think that um, you know the way that you can steer away from folks being performative is to actually just let them, actually let them be who they are at the end of the day. And so it's, I think, um, we do a lot of this kind of follow the leader. If one campaign works really well, we'll do something similar, because it's safe and it's, we've seen it done before. And I think that's a real challenge. In the industry, we don't necessarily want to tackle issues kind of head on and really talk about it. We just want to put something out and really be done with it and move on to the next thing. And so we look to other folks, and we just copy what they do. Um, and so I think that it's a real imperative to, for folks to be much more creative, much more thoughtful, look at their own values, their own internal values, and the values of the companies and entities that they represent, and really try to get alignment on their messaging. So yeah, I think that's the way that sort of move outside of being performative in a lot of ways. Community. I think this is you asked for one word, but I think at the root of all this, and I think for what I've experienced in my life is really about the opportunity to see somebody in space that I haven't seen before, right? And so we always talk about, if you can't see it, you don't know that it exists. And so I think if creating opportunities for people to kind of see people in different spaces, I think it's important for the next generation, as they come along. So accountability, um, I think if I were to, sort of rank these, I mean, they're all kind of 1A, 1B, 1C essentially. Accountability is key. Holding, executives and, people that are making decisions, holding them accountable for the decisions that they make around, programming, talent, resources. Diversity is, important. I mean, we live in Canada. That's a, sort of um, that mosaic or melting pot. Um, and I think when entities think about their bottom line, um, driving revenue, meeting clients and customers where they are. I think that firms are probably waking up to the fact that diversity is important, and needs to be part of um, their value set. And then inclusion, for me is really about um, very similar on the kind of diversity front, but making sure that nobody's voice is left out. And that's tough and it's challenging because there are just so many voices. But I think making sure that we're hearing everybody that's around the table, all the groups that are around the table, and getting their point of view, and allowing them to share. My top idea, I think, is in terms of ideas, it's not an idea at all. It's just some folks to be intentionally curious about um, other opinions, being creative and solving the talent problem, um, and looking and seeking new and diverse voices, and about how that fits into their business and their business model. um, I think it's very easy to be me too. Um, you know, It's very easy to copy the last guy because it's safe and there isn't a risk, and you're probably not going to get fired. And I think that 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 weighs on a lot of the decision makers. Whether they're going to be challenged or whether they're going to be called out, or whether they it's all about risk. And I think that for us, it's you have to have people who are brave and are going to take the steps to make change. Not saying that we don't have those people, but I think everybody, when they look at doing something different, um, I think it's really about thinking about their own livelihoods and whether they're really able to pay their mortgage or go to cottage or have the car that they drive. It's really about themselves at the end of the day. And so I think it's yeah, it's about being creative and being brave.